Stone Cold one without having Brett in there.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like, why aren't you in there? Get in there, Brett. Okay, we're on.
I don't understand. Like, they just
one.
touched on it a little bit. It's like the most craziest thing in the world.
Just touched it a little bit.
They just touched on it a little bit.
That's what he said.
You know?
Okay, my cat is about to get thrown out of the garage.
Hi, everybody. It is the kids on the escalator podcast. And we are here.
Can you throw him out?
It's on our Tuesday night. Mikey P.
Yo, both of you are going to fail this class if you don't quit.
Thanks for having me back in.
Hi, Chris Machete.
Yeah.
Happy May the 4th, everybody. May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you.
Beavis was right there.
I had not seen or watched any Star Wars stuff up until about an hour ago, and it was on the TV upstairs watching a little bit of Empire.
Nice.
Yes.
Yes. You know, that was, it was on the other day. And then, you know, an interesting thing, I was driving the kids to school this morning, and they were talking about, which I think we're going to get into a little bit of, you know, least favorite or favorite characters, whatever. But they were talking about Chewbacca's son made the list.
Of what?
Oh, from the Christmas special.
From the Christmas special.
Yeah.
Oh, of the most hated?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is he, Larry Baca or something?
What, was he in there for like 2 seconds? What the heck?
His
the Star Wars fans, right? That 2 seconds of him was horrible.
Larry Baca. He's like he's the disgruntled old, like he's a bowler. He never made it. You know, changes tires.
His dad's the one that shows up drunk to all the family functions, and everybody yells at him.
He was sort of the unknown Baca of the family.
Yeah, that's right.
That's like
constantly between jobs.
There used to be a Canadian comedy band called the Arrogant Worms.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember them?
Yeah,
they did a song called Jesus Brother Bob. And that's what it made me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Bob,
SNL does the what they did, like the Carey family reunion and the Sandler family reunion, but they could do like a Chewbacca family reunion. Larry Baca, Teresa Baca, you know, they all got a car wash. It's a thing. So
that'd be funny.
Anyways, hi everybody, how you doing? We're back. Another big episode this week. Another big episode this week.
I can't believe they can fit this episode on the internet.
Well, until Bill C10 passes, we can fit a bunch of stuff on the internet, and then after that, I guess we're asking the government for permission to talk about things.
Cool. We always got to ask the government's permission.
What do you think, Mike?
You know what? I don't want to. We don't have enough time. I want to keep this light tonight. That's
dark chocolate, by the way. It's really, really good.
THC infused?
No.
Yeah, it is.
It's a store bought. I'm a hippie store though. I'm actually, anybody out there want to send me some good old choco?
My daughter brings it home from work all the time. The chocolate bars, man, I've eaten a great big chocolate bar. No effect. I watch my wife and my daughter be like, "Whoa, what the heck? This is great." I'm just like, I eat 2 of them. No effect.
Sleep. I just need some sleep. God
no,
damn.
it just.
You know what you gotta try. You gotta try some of that the tea, the Every tea.
Every tea? Is it like
Every
THC
tea? Yeah, CBD tea. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I take lots of CBD. I've got like jars of it. I make it.
He makes it, man. He makes it.
I boil it in the backyard. People come by and they're like, "What the heck?" So, what? Do you take that stuff, Mike?
Cheating. Like I've been doing some stuff for them recently.
Oh, cool.
So
yeah, my mom takes a lot of it for her knee. I tell you, man, it helps.
You should start taking it for the gallbladder, Mike.
Yeah. How is your gallbladder? Is it still doing that impression that you made? That was spot on.
We're good. We're good right now. Going to see the doc next week, so we're fine. Everything's
Chris,
fine. It's fine. Good.
We had a little bit of technical stuff, which is awesome, Lonnie. Thank you for fixing and getting us up and running. We're running into time, and we got a great guest with us this week. We got Ken Tizzard coming on, which we'll bring him on right now. And then we're going to dive into the batch, but I think we probably could go right into some just cool old school Star Wars chat and leave that for the end, so we can bring Ken in and get rolling.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Yeah.
So
sure.
The new batch.
Oh, the new batch. Yeah. So I just watched that. So I without giving it away.
Mm-hmm.
They show well, everybody, not everybody. If you put it on the internet, you'll find that there's a short glimpse of a character named Kanan or Kanan. I'm not sure how, like Kanan. He'll later come into play, and he's off the very beginning. But the funny thing about this dude is he's a little guy, and then he goes to talk, and it's Freddie Prinze Jr. doing his voice. So you got this little Jedi in there, and then you're thinking he's going to go, "Hey guys, I'm going to kick some ass," and he's like, "Hello, how's it going?" And it just no, did not work at all. But they had Freddie Prinze Jr. in there. It's funny, Jim Carrey's going to do a voice. Keanu Reeves is going to do a voice eventually. So this takes place right off the bat when Order 66 happens. So you get a different kind of perspective on the Order 66. You get the behind the scenes information from the Empire about what was going on. And this is the Bad Batch guys didn't get the Order, because if you've watched anything about the Bad Batch, they're not. It's funny, they're almost like handicapped clones. So because they have imperfections, right? So it's kind of, again, like a minority being pushed into the forefront here. And to top it off, they tag a little girl along with her too. So they've got Disney's covered their bases here, which is what they like to do. But the characters are cool. There's layers to the Bad Batch characters. If you've ever watched it, of course they got the strong guy. Did you watch the whole thing? The whole first episode?
Oh, is it just one episode at a time?
I believe so. Yes. It's like an episode thing. But it was good. Like, as I say, like there's some Moff Tarkins in there, and they go behind the scenes. I don't want to give away too much, because sure, there's still sense to watch it, right? But I thought it was pretty cool. I give it like an 8 out of 10 so far.
8 out of 10. I gotta watch it still. There's so many things that came out.
It's good
over the last little bit, and I'm kind of the perfect time, really, for there's been enough of a break there with since The Mandalorian that I think everyone's kind of ready for a little dose of something.
I watched an episode of Invincible today too, Brent, as we were discussing earlier.
Oh yeah. And hey, we got a guest down there. Ken.
Bring on the guest.
We see him. I don't know if he sees us.
I see 3 people there.
You see 3 people, but we don't see you, sir.
See a name.
Okay, so there's something that I've got to look at doing, eh?
Maybe.
Hold on.
It's mandatory for the show.
Yeah, no, I figured that much.
There he is. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Frig. Wow, what's that all about there, boys?
How you doing, Ken? Welcome to the show, man.
Good to see you, pal.
Thank you for having me. This is all brand new for me, strangely enough.
Cool.
The internet? The internet. Or
welcome to the universe, man.
Come on. Let's
smoke, drink, swear. It's great here.
Let's not tell schools out of story here. Ken, by far and away, is probably the most technical of the musicians in most of his previous bands, because if I'm not mistaken, way back, you were doing electronic stuff, computer-wise, way ahead of everybody else. So I think your tech, and if his tech's a little off, he's got the best tech assistant as well in his daughter Caitlin. So.
Well, I'm good with it all. I like the technical side of thing. The part I guess I'm referring to is the merging of this type of social interaction online. When I was earlier envisioning the internet and what was going to become of it, I sort of envisioned this happening sort of on a scale which really ended at pornography. I never thought it would become our jobs and our interviews and our methods of communicating. All this stuff, it's just wild, and it goes through the air. It doesn't even go through wires anymore. So it's fascinating. It's fascinating to me to
and done from the comfort of your safe space, the kick-ass studio that's behind you there. Music space, which by the way, that was for those that don't know, Ken does a Whiskey Wednesdays live stream from his place. And you did the tour of the studio after the last episode, which for a gearhead like me was like so satisfying to watch.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's it's a weird thing. I know when I got into, like last year when I decided I had to sort of find a way to get to the world. And I just started putting stuff together. It was really confusing, and I was calling all my friends and everybody, and there was a few people who were doing it already, but they wouldn't share any secrets. So I just started, I started buying stuff and trying it out and then sharing what I was doing with people. And then that's when I started getting great feedback on what was working and what wasn't. And it was really a sort of combination, again, this weird sort of interaction with people through the air, where it helped me kind of put this together through all that. So, it's like I say, I'm new to it, but I'm really loving it. It's very cool.
It's May the 4th, by the way, here, and Mike's being modest, but when you voice every single thing on the internet and TV, you also have a nice little studio. So it's funny that he's downplaying his own little. He's just hiding behind a little screen there. He's got tons of stuff over there, but
yeah, Mike has become from when I met Mike. I mean, good Lord, now he's sort of he's become the voiceover king. I guess is that your official title?
I guess so. I've gone from radio to man everywhere. You can't.
Yeah, well, that's but again, it's the internet. The internet's allowing us to do this in a lot of ways. Work remotely, work from home. It's changed the game, and it's leveled the playing field. And in a lot of ways, it's in a lot of ways it's leveled the playing field. In a lot of ways, it's added to the great divide between the sort of the haves and the have-nots. It's a weird. You've got this big, massive corporate thing, and then you've got the rest of us down here, but we're all connected by the same thing. But all the technology is making that void bigger in so many ways. It's fascinating. There's cultures, there's subcultures within all this shit.
We're using the corporation's lines for the internet, though.
Well, if you think about it,
like the same lines.
Imagine, even 15 years ago, you didn't have the access or, to build a studio or to have this kind of stuff in your house. You'd have to go to recording studios to do stuff. And now, I mean, technology, the way it is, it's pretty cost efficient to, have a pretty decent setup at home now.
You can do it pretty simply. I mean, you can go down the wormhole and get really drawn into all the technical aspects of it, like read a manual and stuff like that. But you don't need to do that for most everything. There's pictures, you just plug this into that, turn it on, and usually things work perfectly. It amazes me how far we've come. When I started dealing with the internet with the Watchmen back in the early 90s, I used to carry around this little device. It was a plastic device like this, and it had two circles in it. And you'd take the telephone and you'd put because the telephone was the two ball end things with the handle, and you'd put the telephone into this thing, and your computer would send that through and you could hear it, and then the phone would connect. But and then you had to make sure like it wasn't raining or anything outside, or you'd lose your signal. And it was that was my introduction to it all, and I can't friggin' believe how far it's come.
Well, look at Chris. Chris has got the old streaming setup on his end there in Kingston with Lonnie in the back there handling stuff. Brent, you're out in BC. Ken's in Campbellford. I'm in Brantford. So, it's pretty amazing how things
and records are getting done this way. Everything has changed. It's quite something.
And it's May the 4th too. So
welcome to you joined us on May the 4th, Ken. So before we do anything, before we dive into the record, before we dive into anything, it's Star Wars time, because this is a pop culture. This is a pop culture show after all. Chris Machete, our co-host up there, founding father, was a father before, like a long time ago. He's kind of old, Ken. He's kind of old. Anyways, welcome. This is Machete up there has got a whole bunch of Star Wars stuff for us today. Ken, welcome to May the 4th Day. Chris Machete, go ahead, buddy.
Hey, Ken, how you doing? It's good. Nice to meet you, buddy.
Excellent. Cool. Nice to meet you too.
We probably know a lot of the same people, but I won't drop all those people in between and names and stuff. We'll get right to the fun Star Wars stuff.
That sounds great.
Do you like the earlier movies or the later movies? So I'm not like throwing things at you that you dislike, because I don't like the newest movie, the latest movie that came out, and we probably shouldn't get into that because I didn't like the newest one.
Chris mad.
But where are you on the Star Wars timeline of things? Where do you fit in there, my friend? Okay,
well, the one thing I'm finding with these podcasts, and if it's okay with y'all, I can speak candidly. So the story goes like this. I'm currently one of these old guys who argues with my daughters about how much like the first 3 Star Wars movies were life-changing, while she tries to talk to me about, you should really sit down and get into the all these new series. And she's got the Disney subscription, so she's into all the new stuff, and she's always trying to get me in there, and I just can't do it. I went through, I think the reason is, like, when I was really young, Star Wars hit me as probably a 6 or 7 year old, and my life changed. I used to get I think it was a $2.50 or $3 allowance every Friday. And every Friday I'd go down to the Zellers, I'd walk down through the rain. It was always raining. I grew up in St. John's, and I'd go to the Zellers and I'd go in, and they had the Star Wars action figures and the little sort of the cardboard thing with the plastic cellophane, and the little tiny, 2-inch action figure that always had one part that was removable and fucking got lost the minute you opened
guns,
it.
Man.
Usually like, the gun or something.
The lightsaber, at least the lightsaber was attached, right? Remember the little arm thing would slide?
Flick in the arm.
That's right.
So do you remember the first figure that you bought?
I do. It was a Jawa.
Nice.
And it had a staff.
Yes. Oh, wow. Those are good ones, man. And do you still have it by any chance, or no, long gone?
I can't get into my whole family story, but I don't have much from my childhood.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, I still have actually. I got R2D2 first, and I still have him. I had to buy a new wraparound, like on eBay. I actually found a new sticker to wrap around his body, kind of thing. But I still have him, and the memories of that, man. Like, oh, dude, going and seeing and wondering what ones do you think they have available when you go to the store, right, dude? See, I think it changed my life too. We share a lot of the same views on these things as well. We must be from the same generation, my friend. So we
probably are.
Yeah, man.
That's my Star Wars thing, and I stand by that. Later on in life, I was living in Toronto, and that was when I saw that one with Jar Jar Biggs, and they started doing a lot of that animation stuff that wasn't
CGI. Yeah.
It didn't quite fit. I don't know. Something got lost for me for a while, and then I started touring for 25 years. And basically living on the tour bus, I saw every Star Wars that ever came out, but I saw it in like 3-minute segments. And it was usually like while I was getting another drink or something. And because it was a different life. And, I never had time to sit down and do any of those things. I was consumed for almost 25 years. And now I'm trying to catch up, and I've got to do it through my kids. And of course, they're my kids, so I can't agree with everything they say.
But if you want to avoid all the new ones, just go right to The Mandalorian. They did a great job.
The Mandalorian was really, really good. Yeah, you don't want. I think you and I could probably do a whole podcast on the new ones and what we disagree with in them. So we won't touch that because I've done that before. But yeah, so is going, because this is when people ask me my favorite Star Wars movie, it's hard not to say A New Hope because it changed my life. Everything was different. It was like a new thing. I remember my cousins showing up from Toronto when I lived in a small town called Ingersoll, and they had the shirt on. I was like, what is that? It was Star Wars. This is the greatest thing ever. And it was. It really, really was. I went and saw it, and I saw it again and again and again. So if you put aside the heartfelt moment, which Star Wars movie do you think is your favorite or best done?
I'm the wrong person to speak on the whole catalog because I haven't seen it all.
No, just the trilogy.
Oh, just the three. Yep. Empire.
There you go. No hesitation, right? Yeah. And what did you like the best
if I had to pick
that?
between the three.
Yeah, how come? Why would you pick that one?
I don't know. There was suddenly a new. I think there's two real answers to that. And one is I don't know how you separate the emotion of that first Star Wars movie I don't know if I was 7 or you guys know what year did it come out? The first Star Wars came out 77.
May something.
So I was 8 years old.
Okay.
And I remember hearing about it and hearing about it on the radio because like television ads we only had 3 channels on TV. It was Gilligan's Island, Price is Right, and that was it. And I just remember when the poster came out in the mall, the first poster. And it was just that big, long white surrounded by black. And it just, everything about it seemed so inspired, like to my presence at that age. And I don't think I can ever escape, that those initial desert scenes where I was seeing floating cars. And I mean, it was magic. It was pure friggin' magic. Now, why I say the Empire, I think that was when I realized for the first time that a movie could unfold in more than one movie.
Great point. Yeah, things get real there. That's a great point. I never thought of that.
It was the first time that I'd ever encountered a serialization of movies the way that I had with books. And as a child, I read a lot.
I love I grew up on comic books, man. Yeah, still
well, of course. But the comic books had that sort of huge story. If I understand correctly, I mean, my daughter is schooling me on the Marvel series. When I told her I was doing this podcast, the last 6 nights she's made me sit down every night, and we are doing the sequential Marvel movies so that I could.
That's quality time with your kids. High five, man! That is awesome. That is awesome.
I actually have an idea for a new show.
It's great.
I have an idea for a show. We'll call it the Ken Catch Up. So this week will be welcome. Here's May the 4th. We'll talk about the album, but every week for the next 6 weeks, Ken, you got to come back and talk about the Marvel.
Yeah, and give us a review on it. Catching up with Ken. I love it. We get a little.
I can tune in for a few minutes every week if that guy.
And your daughter's sitting there just pissed.
Yeah,
so my daughter be so mad too because she's like, she said to me, "Why are they speaking to you and not me?"
Oh, that's awesome.
So who's the Marvel fan? Is it Caitlin or is it Cassidy? That's the Marvel.
Caitlin. Okay, well, Caitlin and Cassidy both. Cassidy is the one who's trying to get me to watch Mandalorian. Caitlin is the Marvel. Caitlin is like we're watching movies and she's pausing it, and then there's like a 5-minute explanation, and then we watch it. I'm like,
oh wow.
I don't know why
That's
that explanation
cool.
was relevant, but I do understand the movie more.
Nice.
It's funny. We had
that.
Lachlan Cross on here a couple weeks ago, who's part of the Blundell Network, and he's got little Jimmy on his show, who's like the nerd expert on the show and does everything. And when Lachlan started telling his co-hosts out of 95 Cruise there that he was coming on the show, they were livid. Why are you coming on a nerd like a pop culture nerd podcast when you don't know anything about it? He's like, I'm going to go learn something. And they were right pissed that they were there. So we have a habit of bringing people on that get a lot of shit for coming on this show. So welcome, Ken.
Well, I was when Cam first said, can you do, look at this one? It's here, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at it and went, yeah. He said, you're good with pop culture, right? I immediately thought, yeah, I've seen Seinfeld. And he said, well, how about comics? So I play with the Watchmen, and Joey's a huge comic collector. So yeah, I must know something about comics. He said, what about wrestling? And I went, well, I think I've gotten drunk with Chris Jericho twice.
Oh, I got to hear about that.
I'm good with this.
I want to hear one of those.
As we got closer to these to this day, I started stressing more and more about it. And then like earlier today, I was like, okay, I got to figure some stuff out, because I just don't want to come off like an asshole that doesn't know anything. But it's the reality. But the thing is, I know that you guys know what you're talking about. So I'm just, you guys filling me in, I think is probably,
we'll focus on stuff you know about though, buddy. So as I say to Brent, we're used to having people on who know nothing about this. So if you have certain areas, man, we will focus on those areas. No worries.
Well, by the way, Ken, you just named our new podcast. Starting next week, ladies and gentlemen, tune in Thursdays for I Got Drunk with Chris Jericho.
Yeah. So, that would be a great, I would tune in and listen to that myself.
Because I've got one of those stories.
Oh, do you?
I got one of those. I can
make one up, but I don't have one. I can make up a fantastic.
Lots of stuff. Chris, you got some trivia for us before we get to the record.
Oh, do you guys want? Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some Star Wars trivia. Basically all early except for one. And we're gonna get tougher as this goes on here, I believe. So the first question is. So how did you want to do this, Brent? Like you're just gonna do a free for all? It's 5.
Do it as you do it. Do it as you do it, man. We'll just.
You guys gonna buzz in or?
I think you should challenge us. You should challenge us.
Individually.
Individually.
There's only 5 questions.
That's fine. That's
okay.
fine.
So all right, then who wants to go first? You can just pick 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5.
Guest goes first. Guest goes first.
All right, Ken.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
So pick a number between 1 and 5.
So this is where you ask me a question about something that I should know. Okay, let's give this a try.
No, some of these are tough, buddy. So don't feel bad. Brent told me to get some real tough ones in here because it is May the 4th. So sometimes I go really easy. So don't feel bad if you get this wrong.
Now you have to make it a special day, and I get the reference, the May the 4th thing. I've gotten it for several years, and I always laugh on today. I don't know why, but okay, hit me with your whatever you got.
Pick a number between 1 to 5, and that'll determine which question I ask you.
Between 1 and 5.
1 and 5. 1 to 5, whichever one you want.
4 would work.
4. Okay, are you ready?
Sure. Name
a planet destroyed by the Death Star.
Oh, that was Princess Leia's home planet, Asgard.
Nope. Oh no, that was you must have just watched Thor.
I did.
You did just watch Thor. That's okay, but you were close. Do you want to try that again?
It was.
It starts with an A. You had the beginning letter there, right?
I know. No.
It rhymes with Balgaron.
Alderaan.
Yeah,
there you go.
Alderaan. I remember it now.
I liked your first answer, actually, Asgard. I could have went off to a whole bunch of Thor stuff there.
Asgard.
I loved Thor. The third Thor was so good. So good.
Go ahead, Chris.
Okay, Mike, and between 1 and 5, but not number 4.
2. I'll do 2.
All right. What was 3PO's first program job?
Something to do with binary load lifters, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
I'm such a nerd.
Good one.
I was an only child, okay?
Binary load filters, like exact. Binary load filters, like
binary load lifters, not filters.
Load filters. It's load filters.
Okay, then I'm wrong.
Let's just say you got it right. Oh, you should just.
You're way off, Mike.
Mike, that was great. Good job. Okay, Brent.
I'll go number 1.
Wow. Okay, this is a good one. This is actually a pretty good one, and some cool knowledge. Remember the beginning of A New Hope when that Star Destroyer comes flying in? What is the name of that Star Destroyer? They're all named.
Ooh, the J. Edgar Hoover.
Nope.
I'm trying to think here for a minute. I'm going to be the only one that doesn't get it right. I didn't pay it. Spaceball one.
It's Devastator.
Oh, see, even I didn't know.
I didn't see it on the bumper
name,
sticker.
Devastator.
I didn't see it on the bumper sticker, so I missed it.
There's got to be.
All right, so we got a tiebreaker.
Right?
I'm out. I got that one wrong. So there's only one question left, and it's down to Ken and Mike.
Yeah, there is one question left. Oh yeah, it is too. Okay, well. Okay, well, this is kind of a newer one though, Ken. So I'll just throw this to both of you guys. Well,
excellent.
Here, I'll take the newer one.
Well, there's just one. There's just one left, right? Yeah.
Star Warsy one.
Yeah, I'm really not sure how much difference it'll make. You know.
Okay, so what planet was all the cloning done on? So what planet were all the clone troopers created on?
Oh, see, I know this because I don't know it, but I know what you're referring to because I played the video game.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
The name of the planet?
Oh man, I spent a lot of time on that level.
Almost sounds like a car.
There was a car that used to start with an L and had that same name afterwards.
Oh yeah, remember? An L?
I can think of many things that start with L, but the name of the planet is not coming to me. Unless you're referring to the Lada, which I believe was a car.
Well, there was
Remember
the lay car?
No, it was the what was it? It was in Breaking Bad, wasn't it? The car that Jesse drove off in, wasn't it? El Camino.
There you
Camino.
go. Yeah. So the planet Camino. That's where it was. Those dudes with the long necks. And just coincidentally, they were on that episode of The Bad Batch that just premiered yesterday. And the Empire is good. There's a pretty cool interaction between the Empire and the cloning community once Order 66 has been initiated. It's interesting.
And this is going to be one that Caitlin is going to
probably win on.
Know about eventually.
Yeah. So there's some, like, as I say, Keanu Reeves does a voice, Jim Carrey does a voice on it.
Because they realize that there's
Mike Pongracz does a voice on it.
He does.
There's some cachet to being in the Disney Star Wars universe now. So
man, and people just want to be in there. A lot of guys just want to be a stormtrooper too, right? You know, just under the deal on there.
I'm really discovering it again and to be perfectly honest, it's only been the last few years that I've had time to delve into so much video content because I've been taking care of my wife. She's been sick, and we spend a lot of time. It's all cool. We spend a lot of time together, and I'm finding these shows and catching up. It's because I have the time to enjoy them. It's amazing work. I mean, all this stuff, everything that I'm turning on the Disney Plus channel is just like, this is friggin' wonderful. Where's it been for the last 20 years of my life? Right. But then I remember what I was doing. But there's amazing stuff happening. I just think it's great. And it always amazes me hanging out with people like you for a minute. You know, you guys you all been following this the whole thing. And I just imagine like how ingrained it is in your stories. It's fucking fascinating.
I love the fact that all these comics I read when I was a kid are now coming to life for me properly on the screen. Did you grow up reading comic books or collecting toys? Like, other than the Star Wars stuff, is there any other kind of pop culture stuff you enjoyed growing up?
Stretch Armstrong that I was quite fond of for a long time.
You know, they've remade him, right? Like, he's in the Walmart up the street right now, but a reissue version of him. Yeah.
Is he still purple if you break him open?
I don't know. Like, I'll give me 24 hours, man.
Like purple jelly inside him. Yeah.
Toxic stuff. So you like the classic? I love the classic.
I was a big reader. You know, I was a big reader, so I really got sucked into the Lord of the Rings stuff and the Hobbit and all that stuff. And I find it interesting that I read those books as a child over and over again, and even into adulthood. And when the movies came out, I was so excited. And then I went to the movies and I was so satisfied. I was like, they hit everything on the mark. I mean, there was a few things that I could, sort of say, but for the most part, it captured everything that was in my imagination. I haven't read the books again since, which is weird because I used to read them regularly. And I don't know if sometimes these amazing creations of movies and videos of our cartoon and book work, I wonder how much it changes the experience for people. Mm-hmm. Like the younger generation, are they still going to the comic stores the way that we did, or are they just buying film?
My kid goes, but I think what the difference right now is that the expectation level for these kids, like when I show like anything back in my day, still the youngest guy in the panel, but regardless, back on my day, taking the kids, the way the tech has caught up to all the stuff, they expect this really amazing footage, now, and they expect to be immersed. And I don't want to say we expect it, but definitely like when they're like making a new Top Gun, I'm like, you know, I really would love it if I could feel like I'm in the plane, and that's what they've done. So like, I think what they've given everyone as close to a 4D experience as they can within everything. And the kids are now ruined because you can't go, I don't know where you can go from here. Let's say, you know, Bill Gates is now single. Maybe he can produce something that sucks you into the screen or something, but I don't know how they pull you. I don't know how they pull you any further in. So trying to get the kids to revisit some of the classics is really interesting. And it's like when you watch Jaws and they got to wait for that. They just got to wait and they go, oh, that shark looks fake. I'm like, yeah, but in the 70s, it was everything.
Never seen anything like it.
Right?
And I think
it's
that's
getting ruined for them a little
That's
bit.
kind of sad though, because I mean, you know, Ken, you talk about Lord of the Rings, reading those books, you envision what this probably would look like, you know, if it was
100%.
And now, and now a lot of these kids, they're not getting that effect. It's already there for them. Like this is what it would look like. This is it. You know, it's missing that little imagination thing that, you know, as kids, it was awesome to wonder what it would look like or to what it would actually be if they made a film out of it. Now, you know, Marvel is doing exactly that.
But the beautiful thing that I find about it, and this goes from television shows that are sort of, you know, go over a course of, you know, 7 to 10 seasons, where when you're finished, you put like 130 hours into it or something. And it's like, wow, that's a huge chunk of my life. But you can get into the detail of a story. And when you get that, you know, in the sort of some of the science fiction and stuff, it gets really interesting because you get the long detailed arc of a story with all of this crazy special effects. And you're right. It's very hard to sit down and want to read a book when you have that right at your disposal. And not only you have one of them, you know, you turn on, you know, whatever subscription service you're looking at and you've got 70 of them, you know, it's just like, and that's only if you flip 2 or 3 things up or down, you know.
But some of them work. Yeah. I mean, but then you discover something like Breaking Bad and you're like, you don't want to read a book because you're like The Walking Dead. Chris is a massive Walking Dead fan, which, you know, how did they do that, you know, that transfer, and how are you satisfied, Chris? Like, you know, and it's so many factors, and we're just jammed with so many options now that we never were. To your point, Ken, in St. John's, it's like CBC, Channel 8 maybe. And maybe you were lucky enough to pull in the WUTV from Buffalo, Fox, so you can get some wrestling and Married with Children. But I don't know what you got over there on the island.
I didn't get that when I was a teenager.
Well, and joking about 3 channels, I was saying to the guys before we came on, I went into a very deep YouTube dive the last couple of days, sort of doing a little background stuff, because there's a lot of stuff that you know, I'm familiar with your background music wise and such, but your relationship with Ron Hines all of a sudden got me into this sort of, okay, dig through a little bit, because Ontario, we didn't really see a lot of the East Coast stuff, even on the CBC. We had Wayne and Schuster, which was, you know, when I was a kid, I remember that. Yeah. But in my digging deep, I found some clips of a show called Wonderful Grand Band that used to run on CBC, and I got lost for a good, you know, 45 minutes to an hour going through and seeing like this bizarre sketch comedy show, music variety thing that Ron was a part of it in that band. And I'm just like, wow, how did we not get this out here? It's like Monty Python meets Saturday Night Live but it was fascinating. And the band was exceptional.
Yeah,
for the cover stuff they did, because I mean, I'm a bit of a Steely Dan fan, and they did a kick-ass cover of Peg back in
musicians. The musicianship was, I mean, they were all serious pros, you know, comedy aside, and they were all foolish all the time, for lack of a better word. But you take the foolishness out of it, and the musicianship was superb.
But was that was that the kind of like what you would have been? What? So that's 81. So 10, 11 years old. Would that have been sort of the nightly or the weekend stuff that you guys would watch?
Well, I would be on. We had a black and white TV. We were just transitioning to color at that time, and I remember because the Wonderful Grand Band was one of the shows that was on the couple stations we got. We got Gilligan's Island, The Price is Right during dinner, and at night there was like Heart for Heart or Dynasty or one of those shows. And that was all I saw as a kid. That was my entire relationship with the world outside of what was in my initial, right on my space. And all of a sudden, the Wonderful Grand Band showed up, and I was seeing my culture, I was seeing scenes that I had seen out at my grandma's house with, my two aunts fighting and stuff. And I was seeing this being delivered through the television back into me. And I was just like, it was an amazing thing to see as a young person. And that was the first time that I saw Ron sort of, he was an actor and a comedian in a lot of the comedies. But when he started singing with the band and stuff, I just sort of said, that's what I want to do. And that was when my relationship with Ron started. And then when I was 18, I was living with a girl and her mother, and her mother's best friend was Ron's wife's best friend. So for the year we lived there before we came up to Toronto, I saw Ron, once a month for dinner or whatever. And then we just kept in touch for 20 years while we both toured around the world. And then before he died, he had some touring left in him, and he called me and asked me if I'd come back and do a bunch of work with him, and I did. And it changed everything in my world.
I was going to say, I mean, it's crazy to sort of see your musical journey from when you were a teenager. And again, the internet is a wonderful place where you can find anything these days.
Sure can.
And we're digging up some old. So this for Brent and Chris, there was a pretty good punk rock scene in Newfoundland in the 80s.
Yeah.
And this song, let's see if it'll actually play. Hang on. I'm trying to see if I can get this to.
Ramones.
That would be Tough Justice.
Nice. I like that stuff, man. I like that.
Justice, which ties in to the new record. Would that be Dean that's singing lead on that track? If I'm
that'd be Rod singing lead, Dean playing bass. Rod was his brother, Dean Locke, Rod and Dean Locke, and Danny Thomas on drums. And those are Dean passed away last year, but some of my closest lifelong friends. Great bunch of guys.
How did you sort of? I mean, there's the infamous story of how you learned how to play guitar, which you thought was a guitar, which and it's Chris Broadbeck of C Spot Run that wised you up to the fact that
you're breaking them out today, Mike.
Well, this is. If people want to know how Ken got into playing the bass, it's seemingly by accident, I'm guessing, because
I thought I had purchased a guitar from a lady I was babysitting for. She had broken up with her husband and bought him a new electric guitar before they broke up, and she never gave it to him. So she needed somebody for the whole summer, and she asked me what I was saving my money for, and I said new guitar or a guitar. And she said, "Oh, I've got this one. Is this something you're interested in?" I don't know anything about it. I just know it's something he wanted. And I plugged it into an amp, and it made noise, and it had strings. And I went, "Yeah." I said, "I'll work all summer for this." And 6 months later, I'm sitting in my bedroom trying to learn I think it was a Judas Priest guitar solo or something. And my sister walks by with her friend from C Spot Run, Chris Broadbeck, and he says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I said, "I'm just playing my guitar." And he's like, "Yeah, it's why are you trying to play the guitar solo?" I said, "Because I'm playing guitar." He said, "No, you're playing a bass." "What are you talking about?" He said, "That's a bass guitar." And I said, "Well, what is a bass?" Like, I didn't have the internet. I didn't have a music book. I didn't know what I had. I knew I plugged it into an amp and it sounded fucking noisy, right? I just thought it was my terrible playing. I didn't realize I was missing two strings. Anyways, I said, "So what does the bass do?" And he showed me what the bass line was in that song, because he was a bass player. And I was fucking bored out of my skull. I was like, "Oh my God, that's what I'm doing." So, it evolved from there. I learned better. Chris turned me on to some really cool groovy bass players, and he's still a good friend today. That's I never.
You were playing bass in Tough Justice there?
No, that was Danny Thomas playing, or Dean Locke playing bass in that one. I was playing bass at the time with a band called Waffet, which was myself and Clark Hancock and Don Ellis. Like the six of us were the tightest of friends. And there was Llewellyn Thomas and a few others that played in both bands. And we had a circle of bands back home. And Chris Jarrett, I don't know if any of you remember a band from Toronto called Sudden Impact in the 80s.
Okay.
Great hardcore band. Chris came up and sang with them for a while, but he was playing with a band called Schizoid. And a few of his buddies, they were real smart. So we'd have shows all year, and we'd all pool our money. We'll have like punk rock shows with all the local kids.
Nice.
And we'd kind of pool the money. And then they had a production company called DUPP, which legend has it stands for Dead Upturned Puppy Productions. You know, very
Very punk rock.
And they'd bring bands back. So this was part of my scene. And, you know, we got to play and house bands like DOA, SNFU, Deja Voodoo, you know, all these really cool things that as a teenager, like it just, because I was a skinny kid, I've been picked on all my life. And suddenly I became a teenager. I discovered punk rock, and I discovered a record store. And then I discovered a punk rock scene and skateboarding.
Yeah.
And it's just,
Like-minded people, right? You get the like-minded people, and then you feel the power, right, of being united with punk rock. There's such a good community when you reach that, because you're all the same. You're all alienated people, right? And then when you get a group of punk rocker people together, the same mentality, and you throw some instruments in there, man, magic happens. That's beautiful. I dig it.
Yeah, but it's interesting to me about St. John's. This was in St. John's, right?
yeah. St. John's.
So everyone's so great there and so friendly that I would imagine that you would still got invited to play everywhere. Like, even if it's like, there's the punk rock club, but then you're also like how you break on the rock is that you got to play the Legion, and you got to play this, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, let's fucking drink. Let's go. Like, well, I remember doing shows there and all sorts of people coming out.
It was amazing. And in a few short years, it went from a small crowd of about 15 sort of skateboarders and musicians. And then as we got, you know, sort of other people joined in, and sort of, you know, our girlfriends and boyfriends started getting in the scene. It started growing. And there was a period of a couple of years where there was about 200 of us. And any day of the week, you'd find 40 to 70 of us sitting in a cluster down on Atlantic Place steps, you know, just like bumming quarters and smokes. But we made that scene, and we brought music in, and we supported each other. And it was, you know, to this day, some of the greatest people that I've ever worked with were part of that scene. You know, some people that have gone on to do, you know, sort of really sort of big things in the world. It's not that that's the importance of it all, but it's just there was something in the water that
it's nice to have things pan out, though, right? You know what I mean? Especially if you're passionate about it.
Yeah,
nice to have that kind of stuff pan out.
It sounds like the Oshawa music scene and Port Perry that you guys.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, Oshawa had a lot going on back then. With, you know,
there was two bands. There was three bands in Port Perry. 3 bands, and then there was 4. We were one. There was Machine's Way. There was Modern Day Braves, and then there was somebody else, which was actually the name of the band. Somebody else.
Then we realized we could do shows in Oshawa, and it was like, oh my gosh. And then we realized we could do shows in Toronto. It was like, oh, okay, now we're really having fun, right? Yeah, we don't have to stay in Port Perry and play field parties. It's great.
Ken, you got a new record?
I do, yeah.
Excellent. We got some promo here too, I think, don't we?
Which I mean, the whole Dean Locke thing, which is a bittersweet story. I want to say that is it going to be the first track in the album?
I don't actually know the track listing, but no, I don't think it's the first track. But there is on the artwork on the back, there is the album is dedicated to the memory of Dean Locke. Dean was this was his first time playing on a record that I think was going to be pressed to vinyl and sort of be released in this manner. He had done some recording, and as we all did, the demo recordings back in the punk rock days. He's a lifelong friend, healthy, nice guy. Very unexpected. There was an accident, and a couple of days later, he was still in hospital, and then he died unexpectedly. So
now
I don't know,
But you did. He plays on the Clash track that you guys did.
Police on My Back. Yeah.
Was that your choice, or did he have a little bit of a hint in that? Because again, that sort of digs back into the punk rock sort of vibe.
I had Dean in mind for that track, 100%. Yeah. And when I told him what I wanted him to do, was super thrilled, and he was like, I don't have any way to record, what do I need? And I'm like, well, the most simple thing. And I kind of outlined few pieces of simple gear for him, and he went out and got them, and he didn't think at one point one piece was coming in. He really wanted me to wait for him, and then he sent me a few things, and there was some, there was a little bit of technical stuff that we had to get up to speed. So I worked with him a lot, and he was so fucking excited to be part of it. And he never even heard it. He never heard any, like, he sent me his bass track, and I'm like, excellent, I can't wait for you to hear it. And then I found out he was dead, and it was just like, what the fuck? It hit me. It hit me really hard, but it's a part of the album. It's a part of the story of the album. This album is about, it's called All Together Now. And it really kind of fell together out of nowhere. When I started doing my live stream last year, I realized how linked we could all be online. Because I'd still been going out and touring, going out 3 or 4 nights a week, lugging guitars around and playing for, and going home and doing all that. Anyways, it was a thought. It was a thought that I'd just make some music for some people, just so that we could have an hour to disappear. And it turned into so much more. People asked if they could be a part of it. And then I opened it up and I said, if anybody wants to be a part of it, you can. And I ended off getting about 70 people working on 13 tracks, of which 45 people, there was some technical issues and some COVID issues and some family issues and all these things. It's been a horrible year, as we all know. I don't talk too much about the bad side of it, because we're just getting through what we can. But over the year, we made this record. I sent everybody a track, just me playing an acoustic guitar with a click track. They typed the click track into their machine. They put the track in. They played whatever they were playing, fiddle, keyboard, vocals, sent it back to me. I cut it all up like a big jigsaw puzzle and put it all together. And then I sent it to Mike, and he made it sound fucking amazing. And he did so much more editing than I had done. And he turned it into something else. And at the end of it, I listened to it and I went, what the hell is this? Mm-hmm. I don't recognize any of this.
Well, it's amazing because on your Facebook, I remember, last March, it was originally supposed to be just a 21-day challenge.
21-day challenge, yeah.
Make an album in 21 days, and you had, everything laid out in day 2. All these things, scratch tracks that you're putting together. At what point along the way did you kind of realize this is not a 21-day project?
It was we at 21 days, I actually had most of the stuff out, and people had committed to what parts they were doing. And I had everybody's space. I had everybody laid out on a piece of paper that covered all the time and space of the record, every instrument and every song. And it was all filled with all these different people. And they were all sort of about 60% of it I had back in. And that was when my wife broke her hip again, or broke her hip for the first time, but she'd already been in recovery. And my life sort of went on a major spin out. And that was when Mike stepped in and said, Ken, just keep sending me stuff. I said, I feel like I need to, I'm kind of holding it together. And he said, you just keep sending me stuff. He said, you already have told people what you want. I've got a bunch of it here. You've already edited this. He said, when you get stuff in, just send it. So I was hearing bits and pieces along the way. And then it was like, and I was editing, and sometimes I was just editing, a fiddle track with an acoustic guitar track. And other times I was hearing the full thing. And it wasn't until the very end when I sat down and Mike said, here's the mixes. And I went, what? Like, it was really weird. I've been carrying bricks to this building and laying them in place blindly for a year. And then all of a sudden I stood back and I just went, wow, this is wild. Like, it's.
And your guest list is pretty great too. I mean, you got a killer song list. You've got Matt Mays is on it, Ron Hawkins, our buddy Dale Harrison was just on a couple weeks ago with us, Daniel Adair, Tommy Mack. Hey, Tommy, how you doing? Geez, you do Tear for Fears, Boomtown Rats, The Clash, The Cure, Billy Bragg, REM are all stuff. It's quite an undertaking, as Mike said, to try to do all that in 21 days. But did that guest list grow as you sort of put it out there?
It grew. It grew faster. It was about 2 months in that I knew that this was. It had picked up enough steam, and there was enough people involved that I knew that I didn't want to just do something that I was going to throw up on the website for people who were involved to have. I knew then that it was actually going to turn into something that was something that I was proud of as an actual record, and I really am. It's the strangest thing. I think it's the strangest recording I've ever made in my life, but it's a wonderful collection of people and music. I'm glad to be a part of it, I guess.
How did you sort of narrow down the actual song list? Because it is a pretty eclectic range of art. I mean, we're going from The Cure to, you know, Billy Bragg to, you know, Tom Petty, which, by the way, fantastic song. I can't wait to hear what you do with it, because
thank you.
It's a great Tom Petty song as it is.
I didn't write it, but I look forward to you hearing it.
and REM, like that was one of my big ones growing up too. So and you just put out the little teaser of Driver 8, which again, it sounds big. Mike Turner of Our Lady Peace he's engineering the album, right?
He's producing engine. I mean, he's doing. It wasn't too long ago, and I wasn't sure if I was going to sort of be telling people this, but I've decided it's important. In December, like when I was putting all the artwork together, and I knew this was going to be like, you know, an actual thing. When I started putting it all together, I mean, I called Mike one day and I said, Mike, I said, listen, I said, I'd be happy to call this, you know, like Tizzard and Turner, or Turner and Tizzard, or Ken Tizzard and Mike Turner. I said, like, I really feel like this is, man, you've worked so hard on this. And we talked a lot about that. I mean, he said, you know, he said, no, this is your record. You chose the song. You have a relationship with the song. You have a relationship with all the musicians. He said, I know a lot of them. He said, but this particular collection is, you know, was chosen by you. You know, he did suggest and help work with a few other people. But you know, it ended off just staying as Ken Tizzard, which I'm fine with too, because I mean, it is that. But he did so much on this, you know, and it wasn't just as an engineer or a producer. It was just as a buddy helping me get to the finish line with something. Which
really, I mean, again, you look at the list of people that have worked on this. It's a very community vibe to it. Like, again, in the time of Corona, when, you know, musicians are, you know, struggling, waiting for live shows to happen again, and just to come up with this, you know what, let's do something in this time. We've got all this sort of downtime where we can, you know, focus on putting out some, you know, real good music, you know, a group music project, and you sort of culled this idea, which again, you've brought in all these musicians, and you've got your daughters singing vocals on this as well, which, I mean, Brent knows this, but you know, my daughter, she's 13 now, and a couple of years ago she discovered the Avett Brothers and fell in love with the song I Am Loving You. So for me, I was like, she's learning to play it on the piano, so I'm playing it on guitar, and so getting her into the booth to record stuff, to me as a dad, was like, this is awesome. What's it been like for you to have the girls around, you know, in time of Corona now, to be a part of this? I mean, you were on the road, you know, 25 years, and I mean, I love the story of when you decided to come off the road and realizing that, you know, family really is way more important than the music life as it is. Yeah. And you've had this great time together with the girls. How cool is it for you to have this project now and to have them sort of, you know, working together with you on stuff like this?
Well, I mean, I'm in a constant state of being proud of the girls, you know. I mean, as people and as career people and what they're doing as humans, it's pretty amazing. They've been singing with me since they were kids, you know. I mean, when they were young was when I was just starting to get back into writing narrative style songs as opposed to radio pop songs. And when I would put them to bed at night, I'd often sit in the room and I'd just strum and kind of sing, you know, just melodies and stuff. So they've known that since they were children. And, you know, and then when they were younger, you know, they had acoustic guitars around, they had the baby guitars, they had little mandolins. So they played along and they sang along, and then they were singing at the campfire. And before long, they were, you know, whenever there was a fundraiser, it'd be like, you know, that somebody wants me to do something, I'd bring the girls along. You know, everybody loves having the kids, and
bring the girls along, you know.
Yeah. And now, I mean, they're in the video for Sonny's Dream. And, you know, I put that up and I get people on the internet, you know, making hot comments about my daughter. And it's just like, okay, well, I mean, I know they're pretty and stuff, but come on now, that's my daughters. But they're adults now, you know, they're they're adults and they're monsters, but they're still here right now because of what's going on. Cassidy is doing her engineering degree at Queens, so she's doing that online. So she's on the computer 14 hours a day. And my daughter Caitlin is renovating her room and putting a studio in it because she wants to make her first record. So she's building another studio on the other wall of my studio. She can't use this one. No, it's not good enough for her. So she's going to build her own thing and she's going to make it into her own thing. And I think that's really fucking cool too, so.
Well, it's great when they can learn with you.
Well, yeah, I think that's, that, as a parent, you always want to encourage, their interests and stuff. But if you're, a musician, like I was never a musician per se. I dabbled, but when my son learned how to play drums, it was cool because, we could jam in the basement when he was into it. It wasn't just video games all the time. It was like, it's dad son time. And then same with, with my daughter too. So I think that's super cool that, that they even now are still, think it's cool to be around dad when he's doing his work.
Well, they don't think it's super cool all the time. I mean, they laugh at me sometimes if I drop mushrooms on a Friday night and I giggle too much on the couch. They don't think I'm as cool as I do.
My daughter works at a cannabis shop up the street here. And she was working in the music industry before. She was doing shows and stuff till this stopped.
But she was singing first too, Chris.
Oh yeah,
Taylor was singing a long time. It was great.
But she likes running the shows now. But she comes home with treats, and it was funny you mentioned that, Ken, because my Gatorade here before we went on, she come down with a little package and put a whole bunch of powder in here with a little pot leaf on it. So I just drank that, and I'm feeling really mellow. It's really good. But she always brings these treats home, right? And she's just right up the street. It's very entertaining.
Great.
Ken, tell us about Whiskey Wednesday.
We're fellow smokers and enjoyers of the freedom we have. There we go, brother. All right, I like that.
Tell us about Whiskey Wednesday and what you're up to and all that. As far as when the record comes out,
Whiskey Wednesday. Sorry, I'm rambly. I'm a little bit rambly.
Doing great.
It's all good. We ramble. This is what this is platform's for.
Oh, that's all. It's like I said at the beginning of the thing. I said, I'm still new to this, but what I learn once I sort of get to know everybody's faces, I'm still trying to figure out the sizing on stuff. Like some people are postage stamp size, and some people are, as big as my whole computer. So and that changes, which is really cool. But I don't know how to manipulate it or anything. But once I sort of get to know who I'm talking to, it always turns into a fun time. But anyways, Whiskey Wednesday started out 11 years ago. There's a little pub in town. Wednesdays, I was usually home. The touring, I kept to, because I had the kids and stuff, I was usually made sure I was home on a Wednesday. Even if I was out for a full week, I'd make sure I was home. So it became my drinking spot, and I'd go down and drink whiskey. And it was a place called the Stinkin' Rose. And it's since changed its name a few times. It's now that little pub. It's the smallest pub in the world. It holds, I think, capacity with the bartender is 23 or 26, somewhere around there. It's this little tiny spot, and some nights I go in there with a full band and full amplifiers, and we blow the roof off the place on a Wednesday for a packed house. And other nights it's me sitting at the bar with my acoustic guitar with 5 or 6 people around, and I'm just telling stories and chatting, and it's what I do every Wednesday night. I go down there, I try out new music. I sometimes bring guests if I got a friend in town who's hanging out with me. And I've had everybody down there. Everybody
intimate, interactive with drinks. I think that sounds like a really good time.
It's an amazing evening. And last year when it got shut down, I moved it to my studio. I just set up an iPhone and pressed record, and I went, "Oh, this works." And then I looked into it, and I got some more phones and blah blah blah.
Tap into the universe, and away you go. You're drinking with many more friends all of a sudden, right, buddy? That's awesome.
I love it. My Wednesday nights are a blast. I still don't have the feed thing proper yet. So I can't follow the real-time comments.
My wife is right beside me, Ken. My wife does. She's right beside me. Trust me, we can't do this without her. So don't feel bad. But no, if you get like somebody or one of your daughters or somebody who can kind of help
Caitlin tends to be the Whiskey Wednesday producer.
Don't feel bad, Ken. It's a tough thing to do, man. Yeah,
I couldn't do it on my own. I mean, the few times I did, it's just horrible.
And you got to get it together because you've created 3 new segments out of this show.
Oh yeah.
So starting next week, join us for Catching Up with Ken.
I like that.
Also, we're launching I Got Drunk with Jericho.
Oh yes.
And the other segment that we're adding, if he's listening, but we'll put it on to him. This one will be called "I Also Got Drunk with Danny Thomas" because I've got one of those stories as well.
No, you don't. Really?
I do. It involved the Trailer Park Boys. And anyways, we'll get into.
I got a lot. I got drunk and fell down stories.
We're gonna get into that, but
yeah, we should do. And I got drunk with revisit some night and talk about all the people.
That's a great idea,
dude. We'd love to have you back, Ken. We'd love to have you back.
So all together now.
Thank you.
All together now.
Releases when?
All Together Now releases May 18th. There's a video out currently for Mad World. It's on YouTube.
Which is
it's going to be on vinyl only, so you can get it through my website or at your record store if they bring any in. And it'll be on, everything digital. Wednesday nights, tune in. I'm always playing stuff from the new album and talking about what I'm doing. I talk about the songwriting. I talk about whatever. This is what I'm like all the time. I get high and I play music and I talk to people.
Welcome to my world. I think we're going to get along just fine.
Oh, man, Ken, you just created another podcast. Okay.
I think,
so the next day is going to be called
Friends.
I get high and play. I get high and write music. Jeez, that's 4 podcasts.
You throw comics in there, and there's like my daily life, right? I like that.
4 shows.
Cheers, buddy. Cheers, buddy.
No,
Ken Tizzard, everybody. Thank you so much, brother, for coming on and making the time to talk to us about Star Wars and all the things, man. And
I had a blast, and thanks for taking it easy with me on all the Star Wars stuff. I was really going on the fact that you guys knew what you were talking about.
All good.
And thanks for
20
some odd years ago for not ratting me out for looking for bootleg shows on the interwebs. I swear to God, I was mortified, and just for you guys, for Brent and Chris, I had gone on to this news, like back in the old dial-up modem days. On a news group that was Alt Music Canada, and I was looking for bootleg Watchmen live shows, and I got a message from Ken. It's like, something like, I've got some. Don't think I can, hand them out. And I'm like, oh my God, like I am
busted.
I'm busted. I felt like absolute garbage, and I'm like, no, I'm just a fan. I'm just looking for live shows.
That's something I was a part of it. I mean, like I said, I grew up in the DIY punk scene where sharing was everything, and I just kind of kept my mouth shut when Napster and everything hit, and they wanted like bands to speak publicly, and I was just like, I'm not doing it. I'm not getting involved. This is, if you need the music, take the music. It's great. That's what I'm making for. I didn't really hope that it was going to collapse the industry the way it did, but it's just, I don't know. Music is. I don't know.
Mike, at least you didn't type back. Well, Pearl Jam lets me.
No, he was very cool about it, and it was again back in the at that time. I was a fan of the band, and to have sort of that connection with somebody in the band, it was super cool. So and then over the years to see Ken at shows and get to meet his wife Allison, and I'm glad to hear that things are good. Things are coming
along. We're still a ways off, but they're still positive. Yeah.
I mean, like it's just cool. And again, like I said, seeing your career go sort of almost full circle around now, and where you're, it's almost like you found the love of music again that may have gotten lost in the music business. All those.
Yeah, well, you see more clearly into it than a lot do. But yeah, no, you're right. I was in the machine. I was a big part of it for a long time. I loved it. I couldn't go back there. It's a different world.
We got more stories to tell.
Yeah,
more stories to tell.
And you've got the right platform now to tell all those stories. So very cool. Looking forward to hearing the full album, Ken. And
thanks.
It's great catching up again.
I've heard it. Fantastic. Anyways, moving on.
What?
That's when you're friends with the guy with the thing. You get stuff. Anyways.
It's been a blast, Phil. Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you, Ken.
Stay clean,
Thanks, Ken.
all that, and stay in touch for sure. Absolutely.
We'll have you back.
More.
Come back anytime, man. Come back anytime.
Cheers, Ken.
Awesome. Well, boys, we're rolling through here. We got about 15 before we get kicked off the network, so we got some news to get to. Michael,
the Dean Blundell Network.
They're gonna
Hi, Dean.
Thing. Chris,
what's up, buddy?
what do you got for us?
What I got
some news
is
of the week.
now that we got the end of the Falcon Winter Soldier, of course, my comic books are rising in value. That's one thing I love about this Marvel stuff and the Star Wars things, man. As I go to my comic collection, it's like, and it's a lot of the stuff I spent like $1.50 on, right? Because I was always an avid collector. Now, the thing that happens to these comic books that blows my mind is most of them jump from like $5 to $10 to like $100 when these shows finish. So U.S. agent. Yeah, dude, all the time. Remember I went over the, what was it? Oh, the Vision Scarlet Witch one.
Scarlet Witch one, yeah.
Holy cow, like the first appearance of the White Vision and the first appearance of Scarlet Witch turning bad and the kids. Holy smokes. Like, mint. So anyway, we got the first appearance of U.S. Agent, okay? Now, of course, that's going to go up in value, right? Now, this was created in the 80s, just 1989. Captain America, number 354. All right, so 1989. And U.S. Agent, the story was pretty similar to the comic book, except for it wasn't the death of his friend that pushed him over the edge. It was the death of his parents. And we'll see in the future, he continues to talk to his friend with that little medallion. He did that with his parents. So they're probably going to continue that on. So that was his first appearance. And it's already going. If it's graded, now if it's graded, it's in like they call a slab, those glass cases, and have the grading on it that I show you guys sometimes. One of those is going for between $500 and $600. Just a normal copy, normal copy, just in bag and backer board. Lowest it's going for is $100 online right now, and that was a $5 comic before, $5 to $10 comic. It was like U.S. Agent, nobody cares about him. Oh yeah, now they do.
Apparently, what's his face? Wyatt Russell has increased the value of the U.S. Agent comic with his performance.
He did good. So and then next we have the Flag Smasher, of course, which in the comic book was a gentleman. And nobody else in the group really became popular. And he had this zany suit. I actually don't have the issue. I wish I did, but he just had a suit, like a spandex kind of suit and a flag, and he was dressed in white and blue. It was the same kind of deal as in the comic, the no borders. They wanted to just have, no government. They just wanted everybody to be planet Earth kind of thing. So that's another one. Flag. Now that's not quite as much. That's probably about a $50 comic for the Flag Smasher. And as I mentioned, they changed her in the show changed him to a girl. A pretty flat character in the comic books. They actually did a better job with the girl who played the character in the story, which is a very unique looking girl. She's very, like, her features are very unique, right?
Maybe Longstocking. That's what she reminded me.
Yeah, she's very unique looking. So I thought she added a cool dynamic to that character, and she's a pretty solid actress.
I liked her in Rogue One. I mean, it's funny how Flag Smasher seems very similar in sort of
and you didn't know it was her, and it was a kind of a cool reveal in Han Solo when she takes her helmet off and it's a girl too.
Or sorry, Solo, not Rogue One. Sorry, you're right, Solo. My bad. Yeah.
Okay, so and then the other one, of course, is the all new Captain America #1 that features the Falcon in the new outfit and with the Captain America shield. And I do have that one. I couldn't fish it out because I had a lot of comics. And I'm not sure what I put it in, if I put it under F or I put it under C or new. I don't know what I filed it under, but it's another one that's going for about $100. And I got that for like $250. In 2014 that came out. So that's a newer one. So remember, I'm always saying about the older characters, right? But these are all, the oldest one in this is 85, and that's Flag Smasher. U.S. Agent in 1989. And he'll go on to lead numerous groups. So this could go anywhere. The other thing that I want to mention is Eternals. Now, Eternals movie is coming with one of my favorite actresses, Salma Hayek. Hello, Salma Hayek. If you're out there listening, I will not trash talk you. Don't worry. You can do no harm. In my book, Salma Hayek, you'll be fine. I will not trash you.
You know Emily Van Camp, right? Is that what we're saying?
Hashtag Emily Van Camp. I still
haven't got any got a new agent because she's in everything. Salma Hayek's got a new agent because she's in everything. Right,
she's great. Well, she should be.
She must have a new agent. She must.
All right. So anyway, sorry, I'm getting.
Is she great? Or is
she's awesome.
Great.
She's super cool. Great. I really like her anyway. She's one of my favorites. So anyway, Eternals is going to be the sleeper. Dude, it's going to be the one because nobody knows about the Eternals. Now, here's what I was mentioning to the guys earlier. The Eternals, imagine Star Wars releasing a movie all about the origins of the Jedi or the Sith. This is what we're getting in the Eternals. This is the origin of the Marvel Universe. And this is created by Jack Kirby. Not Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, Jack Kirby. This dude does not get enough publicity. His name, Jack Kirby. I wish I could just say his name over and over again. Just to give an example of the input that Jack Kirby did on the Marvel Universe, creating these characters. It's never created by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. Now, check this out. Jack Kirby is creating Galactus for Stan Lee. Stan Lee, he wants Fantastic Four. He wants this great big guy that eats planets. This is what he used to tell Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby comes in with a picture of Galactus and this guy in a surfboard. This silver dude in a surfboard. And Stan Lee says, well, who's this guy? And Jack Kirby says, well, he has to have a herald. He's so powerful, he has to have a guy to search out these planets for him. And Stan Lee's like, that's brilliant. And Jack said, well, I just don't have a name for it. So Smilin' Stan says,
Smilin' Stan.
Let's call him the Silver Surfer. So now here's a perfect example, my friends out there. Like, you got to understand. So they list Silver Surfer created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. That does not make sense. But Stan Lee was the guy. I'm not hacking on Smilin' Stan. He was the guy he was chatty. if you hear Jack Kirby talk, he was a little Italian dude with the button-up shirt and the pants hiked up to his nipples there. You know what I mean? You know, those guys going around with the big cigar. And he wasn't very good on camera. But that guy created all the cool stuff, man. Like, Stan would come up with the ideas very roughly, and he would draw them. But Silver Surfer is a perfect example of Stan just going, hey, he's silver. He's on a surfboard. Let's call him the Silver Surfer. You know what I mean? And that's what happened there.
Stan, you're brilliant.
Yeah, exactly, right?
What a great idea. Yeah. You're the man.
That's exactly
We got
it.
this guy in a spider suit. What should we call this guy in a spider suit? Spider-Man?
Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's
right?
great. That's great.
So everybody, if you only know Stan Lee, please Google Jack Kirby because he deserves it. He really does. He was a hard-working white collar guy. Grew up in New York, tough part of New York. So Eternals is going to be huge. You're going to see where Thanos came from. Like, who doesn't want to see? It's like Darth Vader. You're going to see like the history of Darth Vader here kind of thing, right? You're going to see Thanos. But more importantly, you're going to see the birth of the Marvel Universe. You're going to see where superheroes came from. This whole creation. And this is by Jack Kirby, man. Jack
is it a
Kirby
movie or a
created
series?
this. It's a movie. Oh, no. This is with Salma Hayek, with Angelina Jolie. Like, dude, this is like all top tier, man. And this is, I'm telling you, man, I'm stuttering on it because I don't want to explain too much because I want people to go into this cold thinking, oh, well, whatever, I'll see. And then you're going to walk away going, whoa, I am like so knowledgeable. I saw the birth of it.
It'll be another kind of Guardians of the Galaxy where if you're not familiar with the comic, you're not quite sure what you're getting. But once you get it, it's like, oh, man.
It's going to be
great.
I mean,
they just released that teaser trailer for Phase 4, which narrated by Smilin' Stan. Brilliant. And if that doesn't give Marvel fans reason to overlook all the crap that's going on right now, the list of movies and the release dates and what's coming for this next phase is unreal. And it's going to start with Black Widow, which is next month. Or is it July?
I hope so, man. I don't know because they've changed that
a long way.
For a minute there, it was going to be on our TV, then it was like I don't know, but I'm looking forward to that too. That should be really, really good. Other good characters in there. We'll see how it's going to be nice because I haven't seen a whole lot of layers to Black Widow yet. Like I know she's gone through a lot of stuff when she was younger, but she's so her character's so coy because that's what she is. She's an agent. You can't tell whether she's like she has so many flip comments. So it'll be nice to see her really get into the character a bit and see. ScarJo do some. Is that what they call her? Is that what the kids are calling her? Scarlett Johansson. ScarJo. Is that what the kids are calling her? It'll be good to see her dig her claws into the character a bit. Because as I always preach to you guys, man, these are some primo characters if they tap into them correctly, right? Like there's a lot of layers to them, and if there isn't, then it shouldn't be done. They shouldn't be using characters like that, right? Eternals is gonna be fantastic. I've got high hopes for Eternals. The Black Widow's gonna be great too. I'm looking forward to that.
I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting that they ended that teaser trailer with just the graphic for Fantastic Four.
Oh, I know.
With no release date, but it's coming.
So I wonder what the hidden scene's going to be in that movie.
Yeah,
I bet it's going to be Fantastic Four.
I love the rumors that fans want to see Emily Blunt and John Krasinski as the leads. So
isn't it? What's her name though? It's Jennifer. I read that she's
Love Hewitt. Jennifer Love Hewitt.
No, yeah, Jennifer Love Hewitt. Resurrected. No,
what are the odds they can bring?
Lawrence,
what are the odds they bring Chris Evans back? Chris Evans back for Johnny. Was it Johnny Storm? Is that?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that's who originally did it. Yeah.
Chris Evans sort of making a comeback as another.
But I thought I read that Jennifer Lawrence is signed on to be Invisible Woman.
Oh really? Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Though, and then I was kind of like disappointed, so I didn't read the article. But I do remember seeing that. But I would rather see
that if they're crossing X-Men over. Like, don't they want to keep her? In her.
Unless they bring her into
so many worlds.
I don't think she is. Mystique isn't in the comic world. Mystique is not the big character she was in the movies. What happened in the movies is the actresses were really pretty that played her. The suits were very revealing. So she got a lot of fan support and they upped her. She did a lot of things in those X-Men movies character-wise that should have been done by other characters. And as a real hardcore fan, it was pretty hard to swallow some of the things that Mystique was doing because there's some things in the comic books that like Wolverine would have to do. but Mystique was doing these things, and it's like, wow, okay, so Mystique's gonna like, and in the comic book, some of the stuff that the X-Men did were like, oh my gosh, a whole issue, and Mystique just kind of come in and twist somebody's neck and they move on. It's like, wow, that was the easy way out. But you know what I mean about, because her. So I don't think, Mike, I don't think they're gonna continue with Mystique the way they did in.
I imagine they're probably going to do a full refresh on the mutants anyway.
It'd be interesting to see if they go all the way back.
But will they even call them X-Men? Will it just be mutants now?
Yeah, not until Xavier comes in and he names them. You are my X-Men.
Yeah, true.
It's gonna be just X now.
Just X.
Awesome. You don't want to piss. You don't want to piss off the.
Have you guys thought of an actor to play? So for what was our last guy on here from Justin?
Yeah,
Justin Wong.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Sunfire. So Sunfire from the X-Men. Justin, I got a Instagram. I forgot what he's on Instagram, correct? And that's it.
Justin Grown in BC.
Justin. Yeah. Okay, Justin. I don't know if you're watching our show, buddy. It was great to have you on last time. Sunfire of the X-Men. That's my first pick for you. I forgot to totally mention that. I'll have to tag.
Let me tell you what's going. Oh yeah. So then we're trying to cast just Justin, or we're trying to cast. The whole
that just
series?
threw in my mind Wolverine. I was thinking I still want to see Harry Potter play Wolverine, just to say it's Harry Potter.
We're getting Justin into the MCU, so this is.
Let me tell you what's going on in the neighborhood right now. There's a potential in the next week and a half that we've got Cena, Jim Carrey, and Superman and Lois all filming within a block of each other. Can you believe that?
That's awesome.
Our little town. This is where they used Smallville originally. Now they've built a temporary Smallville around the corner. Cena's here all the time filming right now. Carrey is doing Sonic. The sequel,
Sonic Hedgehog,
Sonic sequel, and Superman Lois is fired back up again. Nice. So at one, you could have all three all within it's like a little Hollywood here. It's the craziest thing in the world.
Exciting.
Cena though, it's Cena. You can't see him, right?
No, you can't.
Just dress up Alex really cute. Give him your cell phone and just kind of send him in there, and he'll just walk around and get some interviews.
Well, and they're filming The Boys. They were doing some stuff for The Boys in Brantford not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, and I know they've been filming a bunch of stuff in Toronto because Erin Moriarty, who plays Stargirl, there's
Starfire. Is it Starfire? No, Starlight.
Starlight. Thank you. Sorry, I blanked there.
There's a lot of star characters, buddy.
I see her Instagram, a lot of stuff with her and Jack Quaid and how they're sort of locked down in Toronto during the filming of this. But there's a lot of filming. A Handmaid's Tale has been filmed around here too. So it's a pretty busy place. I was talking to our mutual friend there, Mr. Copeland, about some acting possibilities. And he said, it's crazy right now. There's so many productions up in Canada because of the way things are. And unfortunately, most of those productions, they want people there. They don't want them sort of having to deal with the quarantine on both sides. And
I got to deal with it every day, buddy. I'm handling logistics for the whole country right now for testing.
And are you scared?
So me, I'm not scared at all.
No, I mean, because I'm just the state of things, the state that
everything is. Because actually everyone needs to look to the film industry to get it all back on or back on track, because it's absolutely, the way they're doing it, it's on lockdown, and that's why they're able to film. That's why they're considered essential service, or not like they said, like essential, because it's like, well, not only they're piling a bunch of tax money into the situation, but their testing and the way they're doing it is like lockdown. It's like you're in it and you're not getting out of that bubble, and it's pretty intense. So it's pretty it's busy, but it's just interesting that this little tiny little nook of the world,
it's amazing.
It's got
that's cool.
3 massive productions all within.
We'll get in there. Just stick your nose in there. What's going on?
I'm waiting for the cameo of.
I know. Just in the background. Hi, everybody. Holding the mug up. He's in the crowd holding the mug up.
So
you and Alex.
What do you got going on there? Yeah.
You and Alex just kind of walking background, and there's John Cena, Peacemaker. So.
Hey, Cena. Great. I know a guy that knows a guy.
Hey, Cena, you suck.
You can't see me.
All right, so we got to do this proper. It's like, so Mike, it looks like you're in good shape there. It looks like the gallbladder's holding. Yay! So let's move on to, what are you up to, Mike? Where can people find you? What are we doing?
Hey, you know what? You can find me online on the Twitter sphere at MP Voiceovers. I'm also on Clubhouse now, if you're ever into that thing. Yeah, it sounds like it. It's no, not that
new strip club in Brantford, everybody.
It's that new. Yes. All right, guys, get your hands out of your pants and under the table for the lovely Savannah.
Woo!
So no, it's another one of those social media platforms where people can share ideas and stuff like that. So, but aside from that, yeah, like I was saying, shouts out to the good peeps at Every for having me do a little work with them on some of their cannabis products.
Yeah,
which good stuff. They got some seltzers, they got some teas. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So
I heard you on something else the other day too, and I want to say, no, I heard you on a random thing that I was like, wait, how did he get over here? I thought he was over there.
Were you watching the hockey? Were you watching the hockey?
Well, yeah, but you're on all the hockey all the time. I'm just waiting for you to like take over for the A&W guy.
No, there you go. No. Go around pushing burgers on people. Eat this.
But I'm just saying, it's like you're on all the hockey stuff. But I heard you on. There's a free preview for like the Knowledge Network or something.
Oh no! No, it's probably it could be.
Wouldn't hear me on there.
Or it could be Cottage Life. It's There
was some free preview going on with a thing, and I'm like, there he is again.
Nice.
Hey, we broke him on this show, and now he's everywhere.
If you ever miss me, you just got to turn on the TV. Eventually, you'll hear these dulcet adolescent tones trying to pitch something to you.
Hopefully, I'll hear you at the theaters for Black Widow soon, because I would like to get it.
Yeah, man, I'm really hoping that things go, because that is a movie I do want to like. Marvel movies, it's great to have the easy access now on Disney Plus, but man, nothing beats the big screen with the big sound.
Right? Yeah, talking about the movie on the drive home, just the whole thing of it. It's great.
And the popcorn, like the legit. I know you can get the Cineplex popcorn. You can go and get it, but man, there's something about
being popcorn fan beside us here. Yes,
thing. Yeah, so
she has to.
Yeah, I'm hoping we're back soon for that. But in the meantime, we play on the little screen, man. So this was a treat, guys. Thanks so much for having me again.
Thanks for coming, Mike.
It was very cool playing catch up with an old pal. So, boys, till we meet again, I'm gonna do the little. I'll push the one button, and
that's
then
Mike Pongracz.
See you.
Boom! There we go.
He's got it down.
Nice. So are you still using those like drumsticks that we record with? Those guys were talking about a little bit of home recording, right? So have you know what?
I've got them. The issue is they made an update to them. Mm-hmm. They actually did an update to the app, and it didn't transfer to the new sticks. They're actually they actually let me keep them. I sent them a note saying, hey, it's not configuring with my computer. And they're like, yeah, sorry. You can keep those and use them like for GarageBand and kind of Bluetoothy if you want, right. But we don't, we're updating. And just from a drummer thing, it wasn't allowing you to play heels up. So I wasn't allowed, like, it wasn't allowing you to play with your heels up, and like you had to play
any drummer
heel down and snap your, and well, anyways.
No, the drummers will. The drummers
weren't playing like this. Yeah, you had to play like this instead of like this. And it's just a little thing, and they've adjusted that for the new sticks. But I'm gonna we'll go.
Well, I was gonna say, because like KPP here, Kingston Punk Productions, it's the anniversary, right, of that disc that they released way back in the day.
Oh yeah.
So they're actually they have funding to do a new CD, and they're looking for bands. So if you want to do a song, you do it down here in their studio. I have a link on my Facebook, is the only place I have it. I'll try and share it on the Kids on the Escalator link. Their Facebook page. But yeah, they're looking for bands, musicians. That's why I was wondering about your thing. We could do a Mr. Machete song on there, right? We could just redo an old one. We'll just do it up again and get it on there.
We're due to write something new, but that'll be.
I have a small connection there. I'm on the chair. I'm not the chairman. I'm the chairman of the board. No, I'm on the board. I could sit on a board.
Man, okay, you got people to thank.
I do. Thank you for doing that. So I'm Machete Comics, doing fantastic. We haven't printed the comic yet because we're on a shutdown and it pisses me off. So I'm not going to get into too much detail about that. Very frustrating. I'm one of those people that if I can't do something and it's, not in my control. Yeah. Anyway, so
you just
Darth Kimchi. Oh, Darth Kimchi. Thank you so much for all the kind comments and following me. We have Double Comics. Wow, Double Comics. Like, just amazing people that are really, really enjoying the artwork and getting behind what I'm doing with Machete Comics, which I appreciate. Great comic community. Fort Worth, awesome. Thank you so much for your comments, my friend. Beautiful. Test for Echo. fellow metalhead there who likes the songs that I put behind a lot of my music or a lot of my drawings that I put online there, and some of my noodling. I still put a little guitar things on. There's I teach guitar lessons in my spare time. And then Geek Topiaz. Geek Topiazo? Piaos. Geek. You know who you are. Thank you so much for your support. And then Ludicrous 9. And there's so many more, and I'll get to you guys after, but I wanted to fit a wacky on there today. Thank you so much. You're anytime I post anything, you're on there and you're chatting with me. You're supporting Machete Comics. And I thank you for that.
You got to support local, man. You got to support small streams. I'm tagging that in almost everything that we put out now because this is part of that. We're all working towards the same thing. No one's funded massively.
And then very lastly, I say this at the end because we're almost at the end, right? Because I'll have to put my sunglasses on. But my dog, who I've had, he was almost 19, man. Imagine having a dog for almost 19 years.
Listen, we were talking about this at the Donnelly house about that's got to be the longest serving dog. 19 years has got to be the longest serving dog.
And he was in, if you watch any of my videos, man, he's in all my videos. He's always been there. Such a rad guy. He was a rescue dog. And so we got him when he was like 2 or 3. So I've had him. He was with me for over 15 years. So he's not here now. We just put him down yesterday, 3 o'clock. He's in the backyard with a huge stone over top. So he's still with me. Yeah. And it feels like a blur now. It was so sad. But this episode's for Tim. And if you knew my dog, Tim. And the flooding, it's funny. It's funny, not funny, haha, but it's funny, nice. Is that, man? I think I had over 200 people send their condolences online for me about Tim, which is amazing. He was always in the background.
Anyone who's followed you, man, anyone who's followed you for 15 years, has seen the legacy of Tim. So, everyone that we're all following, Facebook's only 16, 17 years old. So I'm just saying, before the internet, it was whatever. So since we've all been attached to each other's lives, everyone's followed and documented their life. So anyone that's followed Chris for 15, 16 years plus, or been to Chris's house, guitar lessons, you name it, the legacy of Tim. So yes, our condolences, our condolences to the sidekick, Tim. 19 years before. I'm not going to say good times, rad dudes. I'm going to say good times, rad dog.
Okay. Good times, rad Tim.
Rad Tim.
There you go.
So he'll be missed, but sorry to hear that. But as we move on,
we will. Well, I'm cool with it now because he was at I was giving him a CBD oil, and you'd put him down, and he would just motor. Excuse me, but he couldn't see very well, and I tell you, man, he pees every 2 hours, and he gets to the point where he's old. And he's just like, I'm just gonna go right here. So our whole day consisted of just cleaning up after him, and not just that. It's just he was hurt. He's 19, man. CBD oil only can do so much for you. But
it's like 90 something years old.
Oh, dude, if you multiply that, no, it's over. Yeah, he was super old. But anyway, I'm at peace with it now. I feel really good about it. I'm glad that I helped him move on, and all is good.
Good run.
All is good. So what are we doing next week? What are we doing next week, brother?
Well, I don't think we're that far ahead yet. It's been a whirlwind of a couple of weeks. There's lots to cover. We got Invincible to check out, the TV show.
Sometimes we have guests lined up. Yeah. Let's get Rad Alex to do the Invincibles.
Do Invincible, yeah. We'll do something with that. Great. We may go guest or no guest next week. There's a lot of things to cover. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. So we'll figure it out as it kind of comes to sometimes guys like my buddy Cam will randomly message me and say, hey, do you want Ken Tizzard on the show? And we're like, yes, we do. So nice. Ken,
and I'm doing May the podcast 18th tomorrow. May 18th.
You're doing let me go with this for a minute. May 18th all together now, Ken Tizzard's new record. Woo. So make sure you guys check that out. Big thanks to Ken and Cam for coming on and telling his story. And Cam Carpenter for setting it up. Thanks, buddy. Sending us some great stuff. I think Cam has somebody else for us too. Okay. Coming up that is going to appeal to you because I think he's a comic book artist. So
that'd be great.
We're going to look into some stuff there. We got to do, before we get to your next appearance tomorrow, we got to thank our friends at Blue Microphones.
Oh, yes, Blue Microphones.
We got to thank them for these Blue Mix-Fi headphones. We got to thank them for the Blue Yeti X that we're both rocking.
My headphones are on straight.
They're on straight today. But a huge thanks to them for doing that. I actually heard from Joel from Blue today because I'm trying to look at getting some Logitech cams. They're super behind, but he heard that we had that Lonnie's created the Blue promo. So he's like, hey, can you send me the promo? I want to see what you guys have done. Ooh. So pretty cool there. So big thanks to him on that front. A big thanks to our friends over at deanblundell.com.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Big news coming out on that network over the next 2 days.
Well, good. There's always news coming out of there, man.
But there's some big news coming. Big news coming out of there over the next couple of days, which you and I will talk about.
All right, well, you're building it up, man. It better be like something to do with Spider-Man.
No, Spider-Man will not be there.
Darth Vader.
Our friends, thanks to them for hosting and everyone on the network that comes on and says hello.
Do you know anything about the podcast that I'm doing? Because I don't know much about it.
So Todd Hancock has been part of the network for a long time. Todd has got a very, 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 very successful podcast called the Toddcast Podcast. He was Afternoon Drive and 6 o'clock Rock Report guy out here on CFox forever. Him and Danger, very, very popular and very part of that crew. And when he left CFox, he was one of the first people that I know of that started a pod, and he's turned it into a huge show and a big proponent of the green. So that should be a very exciting conversation for you.
That's great.
Some great music chat on there. Has a great pod and big supporter of
who's the other guest? Who am I sharing the show with?
You're going to be, I believe. Well,
not sure. Okay, never mind. That's all right.
I know who it is, but I'm not sure what his announced and release schedule is. But you're going to be sharing. You're going to be sharing it with a guest. You guys
that's right.
Podcast.
The important thing is I'm going to be on the Toddcast on May 9th.
That's right.
And I'm just going to talk like I normally talk about all kinds of stuff. Probably about some cannabis. Probably about some comic books. Some Star Wars, maybe. Might even talk about my dog. We'll see what happens. So I'm looking forward to that. So I do the taping tomorrow, but they play it on the 9th.
That's right. So another big one. And that's a couple of big episodes in a row. And that's like 3 week. Got Dale from the Headstones. We had Justin Wong, who made his debut on Game Changers Mighty Ducks. Ken Tizzard with a new record. Man, so much going on. Lots of fun.
We do good.
Mikey P, thanks, buddy, for coming on as always. And that, my friends, is a wrap for this edition of the Kids on the Escalator podcast.
Yeah,
good times.
Rad Tim. Thanks.
Rad Tim. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.